Coming up on Mountain News this morning, graphic videos circulating on social media can be hard to forget. We talked to a health expert on what to do. And President Donald Trump says he will be deploying National Guard troops to the city of Memphis, Tennessee.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Caroline Mueller. It is 5 a.m. this Monday, September 15th. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Megan Desmel for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it was hot this weekend. It really did feel like a summer day out there.
Yeah, and it was beautiful, pleasant, definitely a great way to spend your weekend. And we'll start off the work week that way. However, a little bit of some cooler temperatures do return tomorrow, but still going to be warmer than average. Let's break into that forecast for you this morning. Looking at a mixture of upper 50s and low 60s. Take a look at Monticello, 67, seeing some of those warmer temperatures really starting to pop out for the day. Now, in terms of those high temperatures, we will be getting into those upper 80s for some folks. Most folks will be sitting in a mixture of the mid to upper 80s, though, but take a look towards Irvin, 90 degrees in that forecast. Nice and clear on satellite and radar, just a little bit of clouds here and there. Not too bad in terms of fog either, but some folks may encounter some patches of dense fog, so just be wary. And in terms of the daytime planner, here's what we're looking at. Mixture of mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Caroline.
All right, Megan, thank you. Troopers were called to a deadly crash on the Mountain Parkway Saturday morning. It happened at the 33-mile marker at around 8 in the morning. Only one car was involved. KSP says their preliminary investigation found the driver was heading east when he left the road and hit an embankment, causing his car to flip. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. He's been identified as 49-year-old James Gabbard. The Bell County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help identifying this man. The Sheriff's Office says he is wanted for questioning in regard to vehicle damage in the area. Anyone who recognizes him is asked to contact authorities. A man once convicted in a 2020 deadly shooting in Wolfe County is in court today. Troy Dunkelberger was found guilty of manslaughter in the shooting death of Jaron Slayback. The two were on vacation at Red River Gorge with a group of friends. The Kentucky Supreme Court overturned that conviction in March. He could be retried. Commonwealth's attorney Miranda King says the reason for the delay in court proceedings is because Dunkelberger has had 3 attorneys since the Supreme Court ruling. The pretrial conference is set for today at 1. New details are emerging about the suspect charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week. The Utah County Sheriff says 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is being closely watched in a special housing unit. On multiple Sunday news shows, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Robinson is not cooperating, though his friends and relatives are.
Roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening.
Across the nation and here in the Commonwealth, public comments about the shooting death of Charlie Kirk have put some people's jobs in jeopardy or even in termination. As Maggie Rickerby reports, while free speech exists, there are limits in the workplace.
Employees sharing public comments about Charlie Kirk's death have led to consequences nationwide. It's happened here in the Commonwealth, too. A tattoo artist in Bullitt County and a library employee in Rowan County were fired. And a UK employee here in Lexington is on paid administrative leave. Under a WKYT post, UK employee Brad Van Hook commented a quote he attributed to Clarence Darrow. Quote, "I have never wished a man dead, but I have read some obituaries with great satisfaction." Now he's under investigation with the University of Kentucky. A UK spokesperson says they have an obligation to investigate complaints when they are made.
We're getting a report, seems like just about every 10 minutes from across the nation of folks who have been fired, suspended, investigated, or disciplined for speaking out, expressing their opinions about the news of the day.
Will Creeley with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, tells us an employee's right to free speech depends on whether their company is private or government or publicly owned. If it's a public employer like the University of Kentucky,
You still retain your First Amendment right when you're speaking off the clock as a private citizen on a matter of public concern.
but Creeley says if a public employee is on the clock, their First Amendment rights become limited. For private employers,
Kentucky is an at-will employment state, which means that employees work voluntarily and can be fired for almost any reason. That includes sharing an opinion that may not align with a company's values.
Courtney Samford is an attorney in Lexington. She says there's often a misconception that social media is a private place away from work.
When that conduct crosses the line and it starts to impact the workplace, most employers then have the ability to respond to and discipline that conduct.
What you say online could have consequences. In Lexington, Maggie Rickerby, WKYT.
Authorities have described this as a targeted assassination, raising concern over public safety for politicians. Kentucky Congressman James Comer was asked about that on Thursday.
I think we all need to kind of think about outdoor events more, because you take what happened yesterday in Butler, and it's terrible that we have to even have that conversation, but that's certainly something that I think when you talk about security, you need to think about. Outdoor events probably are going to be a lot fewer in numbers for members of Congress, at least in the short term.
Comer says both parties are guilty of heated political rhetoric, and he hopes Congress and the media can do better. As we learn more about the assassination, you or someone you know may have come across the graphic videos circulating on social media without a warning. Whether you sought out the video or stumbled upon it while scrolling, the disturbing scenes can be hard to forget. Experts say seeing violence through a screen can be traumatic and could lead to trouble sleeping, anxiety, or even social panic. One clinical psychologist says when kids are exposed to certain content on repeat, the algorithm will continue to fill the feed with that content.
Being exposed to certain content online or on social media can trigger these algorithms to feed, thinking that we want more of it, and it'll send more and more. And kids might not be aware of that. Being able to read and constructively criticize what they're reading and correct any misperceptions is going to be really important in developing healthy children with healthy digital habits.
Wester says parents should implement social media breaks and model that same behavior. President Donald Trump says he will be deploying National Guard troops to the city of Memphis, Tennessee. The president says Memphis Mayor and Tennessee Governor Bill Lee agree with the move. He says the city is deeply troubled, citing their crime rates. Troops have already been deployed in cities like Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles. The president says they are going to clean up Memphis like they have been done in both of those cities. So far, no timetable for when the troops will be on the ground. Secretary of State Marco Rubio went to the Western Wall in Jerusalem Sunday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was a show of support for Israel, even as President Trump says he's unhappy with continued violence in the conflict with Hamas. Last week, an Israeli airstrike targeted a Hamas negotiating team in Qatar. Qatar's Prime Minister called it, quote, state terrorism.
Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
What's happened has happened. Obviously, we were not happy about it. The president was not happy about it. Now we need to move forward and figure out what comes next.
In recent days, the Israeli military has intensified airstrikes on Gaza City and is demanding a full evacuation of about 1 million people. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News This Morning. You could call it the win of the season. A University of Nebraska tight end proposed after beating Akron last weekend. That's next in The Good Side.
And we are staying nice and clear from rain throughout the week.